Hi, welcome to the video, and as of right now, Sunday 7:25 p.m., Bitcoin has dropped nearly $5,000 from just a day ago because something is happening with Elon Musk. He is potentially pulling out of Bitcoin. Now in this video, I'm going to go over what exactly is happening, why Elon's attitude or opinion on Bitcoin seems to be changing, what my investing strategy is, and also what my exit strategy is. To put a long story short, I don't think people should panic, especially if you have a longer term view, but let's take a look into exactly why this is happening. So recently, Elon put out a series of tweets saying that he thought Bitcoin, or at least mining it, was too energy intensive, and that's why he was going to no longer allow his customers to use Bitcoin to purchase Teslas. This news resulted in a series of tweets from this guy called Peter McCormack, but not just him. There's just a lot of hate directed at Elon Musk. But let's go over this thread. So essentially what Peter was telling Elon was that he should stop trolling people because Elon has been pushing Doge. To summarize this thread, and I would go look at it, he's basically saying Bitcoin is the answer. He's a very big Bitcoin bull, and that Elon should stop manipulating the market because people will get hurt. But I think the part of this tweet that sent Elon over the edge, or to want to talk shit about Bitcoin essentially, was that he's very condescending. Right here towards the end of this thread, right here, number 22, you probably won't see this, but if you do, perhaps we can connect you with some of the very smart people in Bitcoin to help improve your knowledge in the obvious gaps which exist. This is what Elon probably doesn't like. He doesn't like being condescended to. And this is in addition to the flurry of hate comments that Bitcoiners have thrown at Elon since he decided they wouldn't be taking Bitcoin. Now, one thing to note was that there was a change. When Elon initially decided to invest in Bitcoin, it was over $1.4 billion, I believe. He sees a future in Bitcoin. But what had happened recently was that Elon saw this: a private equity firm revives a zombie fossil fuel power plant to mine Bitcoin. And this was the catalyst for Elon to put out his tweet. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. He still believes cryptocurrency is a good idea, but it cannot come at the great cost to the environment. He also says Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and they intend to use it in the future. They're just waiting for this to become more sustainable or looking for a better option. And this was on May 12th. But as of today, this is what's been happening. In response to the thread by Peter McCormack, he says this: obnoxious threads like this makes me want to go all in on Doge. I guess people new to Elon don't really understand when he's kidding and when he's not kidding, but I don't believe Elon Musk is kidding at Doge, not one bit. He's talked a lot about it, and Elon is also a really big fan of comedy, so I think there is a sense of satisfaction if you can make the one coin that was meant to be a joke be actually the real thing. He has an appreciation for irony, and if you look at his Twitter, he jokes a lot, but one thing he takes seriously is the memes, is the jokes. That's kind of why he went on Saturday Night Live. If we look at a little bit more of his tweets, here he says Sailor Moon in response to Michael Saylor. This is a play on Sailor Moon, obviously, but he's just taking maybe a little friendly jab at Sailor, and we're not sure what exactly he wants to send to the moon. He should wear an outfit for Halloween, but with Bitcoin tattooed high on his thighs. Again, obviously these are jokes, but here we get into the more serious part of what he thinks about crypto. One of his reservations is that Bitcoin is actually highly centralized, with supermajority controlled by a handful of big mining companies. A single coal mine in Xinjiang flooded, almost killing miners, and Bitcoin hash rate dropped 35%. Does that sound decentralized to you? So yeah, if one coal mine flooding, going out of commission, causes the hash rate to drop 35%, meaning out of all of the Bitcoin produced, the capabilities dropped 35%, that really doesn't sound decentralized. If it was truly decentralized, any one mining place crashing wouldn't have that big of effect on hash rate. And here, this is also his direct response to not only Peter McCormack, but Chainlink God, other people that have been throwing, not shade per se, but it's just kind of a disrespectful form of conversation. Hey, cryptocurrency experts, ever heard of PayPal? It's possible, maybe, that I know than you realize about how money works. So here he has a typo, that I know more than you realize about how money works. And I think this is what people forget. I'm not saying Elon is always right. I'm sure he has some gaps in his knowledge. But at the same time, you can't talk down to Elon. He's probably smarter than most people. As the founder of PayPal, I do think he has a lot of experience. And when you're trying to have a constructive conversation with them, I don't see how it's helpful to talk down to him, especially when he's probably smarter than you think. And here we get to the major tweet that has caused this rapid downfall, and that's right here where he's replying to a person called Mr. Whale. The tweet says Bitcoiners are going to slap themselves next quarter when they find out Tesla dumped the rest of their Bitcoin holdings. With the amount of hate Elon Musk is getting, I wouldn't blame him. And Elon Musk replies, indeed. So is Elon Musk actually going to dump Bitcoin? I think there's a non-zero chance. I don't think this is a sure deal because he still was a fan of Bitcoin, or I think he is a fan of Bitcoin, but he's definitely not a fan of just the comments and the vitriol that's being thrown at him. But that's kind of the problem with a lot of cryptocurrencies, is that for them to grow, you kind of need a certain level of fanaticism. And when Elon Musk is supporting Bitcoin, everything is Gucci. People support him. But now the moment he has certain reservations or he has certain critiques, and Bitcoin is the oldest cryptocurrency. It's not a perfect cryptocurrency. It was just the first big one, and that is its strength, but also its weakness. And Elon Musk doesn't hold back. He's not going to not point out certain flaws it has just because his own company invested in it. Do you understand? This is the type of person Elon Musk is. If he was really trying to make a buck or look out in the best interest of his company, he would never ever talk shit about Bitcoin. His company owns over $1 billion worth of it. How does that make sense? So the people that think that he's selfish or it's all out of self-interest, that's just not true. He shoots himself in the foot all the time in the pursuit of truth or in the pursuit of comedy. Now, I know truth might trigger some people, but he's generally saying what he feels, and he's generally saying what's funny. And that's why some people love him and a lot of people hate him. But now let's just talk about my general strategy and thoughts. We can go actually to my personal watch list, and let's see where we are. So recently, I've actually invested a lot of money into cryptocurrency, more and more after I began using it for some transactions, but I also have cryptocurrency across 7 exchanges. If you look at this watch list, this is basically a lot of the crypto I personally own. Now, my strategy moving forward is basically to just hold, because cryptocurrency is incredibly volatile, and like any other investment, there's always a chance that you'll lose money. For me, after having used crypto and all different types of it, I do think this is the future. Now, the issue is which crypto is going to come out on top. That is very, very hard to say. The safest crypto that, generally most people would say to invest in would be Bitcoin and Ethereum because they have been around the longest. And for something like Bitcoin, it's becoming this store of value, but it's only going to be a store of value if people continue to believe in it. So I think Bitcoin still has the lowest risk, and because there is a finite amount, that's one of its most defining traits, demand will continue to outpace supply in the long term. So if Elon were to actually dump Bitcoin, I do think it will experience a mini crash. It could go all the way down to 20, 15,000 even. But if you are in it for the long term, I think you'll be fine. I think Bitcoin in a year or two will still likely hit $100,000. And I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my speculation, but it's going to be okay. Elon, as powerful and as influential as he is, he's still just one person. We still have very influential people like Michael Saylor, who's very, very pro Bitcoin. His company, MicroStrategy, is basically a Bitcoin company now, and there's plenty of people like him. There's plenty of support for Bitcoin. For every critique Elon has, there is a counter argument, and you just have to balance it for yourself. I'm also still very bullish on Ethereum. Ethereum is a cryptocurrency that is actually being used a lot for transactions and as a platform to build other programs on. I guess what I want to reiterate is that if you are investing, you have to think long term, and that implies for everything, because day to day, what Elon just did now only proves that how little control you really have for the short-term movement. And when I say short-term, I'm not just talking about days or weeks or months. I'm talking about within a whole year, you have no control. So when you're investing in these things, you have to try your best to at least pick the projects that you truly have faith in, that even if, you know, a big whale were to dump it, or if news were to say this cryptocurrency caused this, you know, institution to collapse or it got hacked, that you would still believe in it. For something like Doge though, Doge is something really special. Doge I've also started to invest in because Elon has invested in it. Now that seems a little bit counterintuitive to what I just said, but there's too many factors. So another thing I'm doing to protect myself is diversifying. It's hard to calculate the chances that it goes to zero. I don't think it'll ever go to zero now, but being as big as it is with a market cap of how much is it now? $65 billion. I don't think it's actually going anywhere. And its community is one of the most strongest and funnier communities. Like, they don't take themselves so seriously. And honestly, like I said about Bitcoin, it takes a certain amount of zealousness, if that's a word. People want to evangelize their coins, and Dogecoin's community is quite strong. And if the developers actually work on it to make it a better crypto, that's something Elon is also pushing. I think it does have a future, especially because its market cap is already so big. I don't think it's going anywhere. Cardano as well. Basically, or what its advocates will say is it's just all of the good parts of Ethereum. And Charles Hodgkins was a founder of Ethereum, and he founded Cardano. So yeah. Again, diversify across different cryptos. What I'm doing is putting it into certain altcoins, but not too alty. I would say top 50 coins are pretty good. And once they appreciate, sometimes I would convert it into Bitcoin, because I still am very bullish on Bitcoin. It's still the safest. But honestly, converting your altcoins, if they 10x or 20x, into any of the ones in the top 10 or 20, I think is fairly safe. And just have a long-term view. Don't stare at this every single day. Ultimately, my exit strategy is to just hold it, and I'll cash out as I need. Once I, let's say for an altcoin, once I 5x, I would take out my principal, and once I 10x, I might take out maybe 10 or 20%. That's my general exit strategy. But for most of these, I really don't have an exit strategy. I'm holding this for the long term, and I'm just gonna convert it to cash as I need, because I personally have done enough research that I'm very bullish on the crypto market, and I still think it's in its infancy. So as much as possible, I'm just going to hold. I'm not going to sweat these small movements. If you are just getting into this space, I would recommend just, you know, buying a little bit here and there. I would definitely buy the top 5, the top 10. I think that's a safer bet. But then you have to just ready yourself that this is very volatile. This is not going to move in the direction you want it to all the time. And just once you understand it, it's up to you to decide if you think this is the future. I think this really is. I don't know if it's going to replace all of the financial institutions, but I think it's going to be a big force that runs at least in parallel, if not actually causing the bankruptcy of a lot of our regular centralized institutions. But that's just my opinion. You need to do the research and have yours. That's it for today. I know this was a little bit rambly, but I hope you got some value out of it. I just wanted to talk about what's happening, why it's happening, and what I'm personally doing. I know it's kind of hard to navigate. If you enjoyed this content, please let me know. Let me know what coins you're invested in right now, and also what your strategy is. I would love to know more, because I'm still learning as well. This is Green Knight Trading, where scribes become knights. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.